a ladder going out with angels from heaven down to earth and from earth up to heaven again. The angels were descending and ascending. Verse 20, and Jacob said, this is no other place but the house of God. This must be where God is, the presence of God. We know God is everywhere, but the word presence here doesn't mean that God is not everywhere, because He's all present everywhere. This is where I came to be more aware and conscious of the constant abiding presence of God. When you backslide, when you run away from God, when you leave the service where God has appointed you to serve and you don't serve anymore because you quit, God is still there. God is with you. But you are not aware and more keen and conscious of the presence of God, and you don't enjoy communing and fellowship with God. That's what this means here. So he vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, because he was still on going to the house of his uncle Bethuel. That's the instruction. So he was somehow midway yet. And will give some bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace. Then shall the Lord be my God. And the stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house. And of all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth. He even promised that I will be a good boy. I will try to obey him, to obey God. That's his vow. And I will give him 1/10 of my income. This is where we started. Even way back during the time of Abraham. Nothing new here. Since Abraham, the principle of 1/10 tithing. That's where we get here. God taught them as an act of recognizing that everything comes from God. Don't forget God in an act of thanksgiving and worshiping Him for His goodness. Lord, I set aside this 10%. This is tithing. That's why we are doing it no longer as legal, obligatory for everyone, compulsory, but we've got to do this because of love. Now, this is where Jacob started to be revived. His dream in Bethel and his covenant with God to tithe and make Jehovah his God. That's how he was what we call starting to be revived. Revival in his life. And this is what we did every week. Looking back at it, we see our mistakes, our sins, our failures in the past year. So Lord, help me to learn from all of those. Those were moments, some were painful. We call that teaching moments in our lives. Triumphs and all of those. And Lord, starting, this is a new slate ahead of me, a new start. Help me to avoid all of those. And the lessons I learned, to practice it. It's not just by words. It's not just pledging or vowing, promising. It's obeying and acting on it. That happened to Jacob. So, Jacob married in chapters 29 to 34. We should not read all of those. But just take note. In chapters 29 to 34, Jacob married because he was able to go to Laban's, his uncle's house. And of course, one of the daughters of Laban was Rebekah. We know the story. Jacob and Rebekah is a very romantic story. Beautiful. When I was a young, growing person, a teenager, I just loved to read that because, wow. I was starting to wonder as a young teenager. I said, Lord, where is my Rebekah? Yeah, that's natural for us. And this is a beautiful story. Fascinating, romantic story. Jacob married and raised a family. Chapters 29 to 34. Read that for yourself. And then as he started, the family was growing prolific. Children came along. God blessed him. The Old Testament, especially the Jewish people, the Jewish mentality, the Jewish, shall we call psyche, we call it the thinking, mentality, is that the more children you have, the richer you are. That's why Rachel wanted to die. Because when she saw Leah having children, but she was barren, she was desperate. Because to them, without a child is a curse. But that's the Jewish mentality. Anyone who is barren now, don't think about it nowadays. Because God is sovereign. He gives you children, bless them, bless His name. If He doesn't, He knows what is best for you. You know what I mean? Okay. So the point here is this. The family grew bigger. And then they were becoming prosperous. More flocks. The sheep was also growing fast, bigger and bigger. The cattle, more lands, products, all of their needs were provided. Blessings. But along with the blessings, material blessings and prosperity, followed, were mixed with troubles. All in life, nobody is immune from trouble. We are blessed, praise God. But every now and then, prosperity is also mingled by troubles, pains. So in chapter 34, especially verse 31 to 30 to 31, you open to that. 34, chapter 34 of Genesis, verse 30 to 31. It says here, and I'll read. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "Ye have troubled me." So the trouble came, and this is to me the most painful trouble that ever happened to the family of Jacob. It's a big tribe, right? It's a big land. The background of this is before that. Remember, in the land of Shechem, there was a prince there by the name Shechem. The father was the king of that place, Hamor. And when Shechem and King Hamor saw that Jacob's family were growing and they were prosperous, they enjoyed more of the things there. Shechem the prince saw Dinah, the only daughter, the only girl in the family. Dinah. And Dinah was a beautiful daughter, woman at the time. And Shechem took her and raped her. That brought a big blow to the family. Why? It's not only the act of being raped, their only daughter, their beloved daughter. The brothers were so pained that they were grieving. So Simeon, one of the older sons, and Levi took initiative. We better seek a revenge. And you know, the revenge. They asked all of those people there by being circumcised, because they were Gentiles, they were not circumcised. And 3 days after the circumcision, all of them were sore, the males, all of the males. And then Simeon and Levi attacked all of them and killed all of the men of the land. And Jacob was so frightened because, what shall we do? They might also destroy all of us in return. So that's the problem. And Jacob here was lamenting Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites, and I being few in number, and they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house." Oh. And they said, "Should he deal with our sister as with an harlot?" That's how they responded to their dad, who was somehow blaming them. And I believe Jacob had never such fear in his life before. So we see here Jacob's trouble. His daughter Dinah was raped, and her brothers Simeon and Levi massacred all the males of the city and killed the prince, Shechem. So in his heartache, Jacob, an old age, he was already aging at this time, at this stage. He was spiritually cold and sad. And at that very moment when he was frightened and he was spiritually cold, somehow he, what we call, backslided. His love for God cooled off because he was so busy with a big family, with all of the things, plus this problem. He was down in his spiritual life, not living close with the Lord. God made him realize his need to come back to him. So in Genesis 35, 1 to 5, it's beautiful. This is how God revealed himself again to Jacob. The first 5 verses. And God said unto Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto God, that appeared unto thee when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother." Go back to Bethel. Go back to the presence of God, Jacob. Then Jacob said unto his household and to all that were with him, "Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise, and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went." And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods. So there was a time of spiritual cleansing, which were in their hand, and all their earrings, which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak, which was by Shechem. And verse 5, and they journeyed, and the terror of God was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. They were defended and protected by God. That the people of Shechem were not able to seek revenge against them because God protected them on their way back to Bethel. That's the place where Jacob, in his life, for the first time, saw the gleam of God and his angels descending and ascending up to heaven, the presence of God. So in times of distress, in times of spiritual coldness, in times of fear, in times of trouble, in times of confusion, that you don't know what to do because of the trials that have come into your life, and let alone you're being a backslidden person too. Time for you to battle. Many of us, I believe, I have experienced in my life. I have backslidden also. When I was a young man, I almost got out of the ministry. I even quit Bible school at the time. I was so discouraged. I was down. I could not understand. I became confused. But God revealed to me in different ways. He used one of my teachers from Bible school. He was running after me. He went to our house. From Iloilo, he went to Nicholas. He took time. And he sought for me, and he encouraged me. He said, "Go back. So I went back to school. Or else I would not be here.